Hi everyone, Sabrina here with a confession video, almost this one. This is my October wrap-up, or the shame of how I completely failed to read most of the books on my TBR pile. So, here we go. I'm filming this on Monday, but I can't see me finishing anything else much before the end of the week. You'll find out why later in the video. It's really obvious. So I thought I'd get this done now, so you know the state of play. Beginning of, or actually end of September, I put out my TBR video and basically said, no, I'm not reading that, and I'm not reading that, and I'm not reading that. What is the point of having a TBR jar if I'm not going to read what gets pulled out? Yes, I could ask that myself, because I completely failed to stick to it anyway, even having changed it. So here we go. This is what I did manage to read that was on the TBR. So first up was Frostheart, Rise of the World Eater by Jamie Littler. This is the third book in the Frostheart trilogy. This is awesome. This series is brilliant. This series is what middle grade should be about. I loved it so much. The reason it was on my October TBR is because I didn't pick it up till quite late in September. So this got blitz read in 2 days. My son read it in 2 days. I actually had to wait for him to finish it before I could read it. Fantastic book. Fantastic series. Please give me more in this world. Even if I don't follow Ash and the crew of the Frostheart anymore, I want more from this whole world. It's magical and it's brilliant. Highly recommend it if you don't know what to give your 8+ child to read. Give them Frostheart. I also managed to read the graphic novel that I pulled out of the jar, which was Asterix, and I picked Asterix and the Pecs. This is a Scots translation of the book, so all the dialogue in here is written in Scots, which really screwed with my brain for quite a lot of it. I'm sure there are many jokes I missed because I didn't quite understand the translation, but really cool. You certainly start reading it in a heavy Scots accent, you know, you roll your R's and you really go for the inflections of the language, so it's kind of cool for diving into being Scottish for an afternoon. But very good fun, very simple story about Asterix and Obelix rescuing this pack from Caledonia, which is Scotland, and getting back there and then sorting out the Romans that are trying to take over and the neighbouring clan that aren't really very nice. Yeah, it's great fun. It's a bit silly, but very, very enjoyable. And I also read Namesake by Adrienne Young. I think this was on my TBR. I think this was a Fairy Loot book I might have picked. I can't remember. But anyway, this is the sequel to Fable. This is my beautiful Fairy Loot edition. Been a couple of months since I read Fable, so I thought I need to read and actually finish the duology before I forget what's going on, which is a real bad problem of mine. Very beautiful, actually quite different from Fable structurally wise, but I really enjoyed just seeing more of this world and seeing Fable really come into her own and establishing, you know, she's not going to be used anymore by anybody else, and that she has this family that she wants to protect. And I really enjoyed it. I know a lot of people have mixed feelings on this one, but actually I think it's a very solid follow-up to Fable. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is all I've read from my October TBR. This is what I'm not read. Torchwood Consequences, collection of short stories. Time Riders by Alex Scarrow. Shielded by Caitlin Flanders. I really wanted to read this though. So badly wanted to read this. And Inkheart by Cornelia Funk. Don't shout at me, okay? We knew the jars were against me when I kept putting books back. But I will tell you what I have read this month. So I treated myself last month and picked up the Boneshard Daughter by Andrea Stewart. This is the first book in the Drowning Empire series. I liked this a lot. This was a quick read and so imaginative and rich, and I love the magic, the fact you have to use pieces of bones from other people and there's a price to pay for that, and you've got this corrupt empire system. So good. This is so good. It's told from several characters' perspectives, which wasn't a problem because everybody had their own individual voice, and I really liked this a lot. I think my favourite character is Jovis for lots of reasons, but I really liked him. He's kind of like this rebel-y, wannabe bad boy, but has a heart of gold, which, you know, always good. So I did like this book a lot. I then read My Arc of Iron Widow. This is by Ziran J. Zhao, I think. I'm sure you don't pronounce the Z's, do you? I'm sure it should be more soft S's. I'm really sorry if I've butchered your name completely, but I just want to say I loved this book so much. This will be purchased as a proper hard copy because I just love this so much. The author has fantastically woven in Chinese history of Empress Wu with this underlying anger that women have about the injustice in their lives and in society, and then thrown in, for good measure, fripping giant mechs that can transform. Oh yes, I love this so much. I know it's got the sort of tagline Handmaid's Tale meets Pacific Rim. So much better. So much better. This was a book that made me angry. It made me root for a main character. It made me root for murder and death and mayhem on a grand scale. This was fantastic. So thank you so much for writing Iron Widow. And people, you need to go and read this book. Brilliant. And now for something completely different. The Cat Who Saved Books. This is written by Sosuke Natsukawa, and this is a translated edition by Louise Hill Kaliwa. So it's written in Japanese originally. The only problem I have is I feel translations from Japanese into English, and it's the second book I've read now. My husband's just read a book as well, Japanese to English, is I think the English language just fails to pick up some of the magic of Japanese language. And it's not a fault of the translator or the original author whatsoever. I think the fault lies completely with the English language being absolutely pathetically rubbish. But this is a lovely little book about a talking cat who comes along into this young lad's life at a point where he's grieving massively the loss of his grandfather, his father figure, his family, and basically takes him on little journeys to go and save books from being destroyed in various ways. And it's a really good tale about how we treat books and how we treat works of literature in general, and how some of us very meaningfully can sort of be damaging books as an idea or as a soul. I really like this. There are some cracking quotes in this that I'm going to be putting up around the library about books and reading and life as well. Beautiful little book. This was very much a spur of the moment buy, and yeah, really loved it. And finally, this will be the last book on the I will be reading this month, because it's freaking enormous, and that is Eye of the World by Robert Jordan. Yeah, I'm about halfway, and that's 3-4 days reading. I didn't read anything over the weekend, which is really bad of me. So the plan is to finish this by the end of the month. I was really hoping to get another tome in, but it's not going to happen at the moment. I really miss my bus journeys because that's how I read big books, on the bus. Anyway, this is the first book in the Wheel of Time series. For those of you who don't know, it's like the big fantasy series after Lord of the Rings and the Magician series. It's about to be shown on Amazon Prime in November, and I really wanted to read the first book before I watched the show. Turns out the show is actually going to be based on the first 3 books. They're going to have 3 parallel storylines going. So I really need to get a shift on and read the other 2 before that happens. I have managed to pick up book 2 from the library, which is even bigger. So yeah, the plan is to finish this by the end of the month. I can do that. If I sit down properly and read, I will do it. But yeah, I've also told my students I will be finishing this over half term. So I kind of have something lying on the line for this. So yes, not the TBR I picked, but the TBR I definitely wanted to read. And hey, we all know that some days you just want to pick a book that you want to read and not read something that you have to read. I'm so glad I'm not at school anymore and have to read certain books. What have you managed to read this month? Please let me know which was your faves without spoiling anything, and what books should I be adding on to my ever-increasing physical TBR pile? Please let me know. In the description box down below, you will find all the usual MacGuffins of my social media and book blog links, and also the Booktubers that I think you should go and check out this month. Thank you very much for watching. Hello to all my new subscribers. Thank you very much. It is appreciated. And as always, happy reading. Be well.